Hey, hello, everybody. My name is Brent Schlenker. I am your host for the TLDC, the Training, Learning, and Development Conference, coming up October 3, 4, and 5 in beautiful sunny San Diego, California. And one of my favorite people in the whole entire world has decided to come speak for us. Brian Fanzo, how are you?
I am doing great, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to kind of connect back with you. We've been lucky to work in different spaces and different worlds, and I can tell you, coming back and kind of bringing it home from a couple years of not working together, I couldn't be more excited. And San Diego and the training and learning development community is something that's close to my heart. So this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad you think so, because sometimes people leave and they don't ever want to come back to the training and development community. So,
well, I could tell you, for me, I think they embraced me before even the social media marketing space did. So definitely a place in my heart. So there's some loyalty there for me, that's for sure.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, we're. It's an interesting industry for sure. It's amazing how many people don't even realize that it actually is an interesting industry and a career.
It is, but I also think it's one of those things that I think with so much change and where we're at today, I think the rapid growth of so much, if it's not part of their understanding, it's going to have to be even more so over the next couple of years. So hopefully it might have been a interesting last couple of years, but I think the rate of change is going to drive that and bring everybody back home realizing the importance of training. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. It's a great segue to just kind of jump into it. One of the reasons why I thought it was important for us to do a new kind of event and to create the Training, Learning, and Development Conference was everything that I've seen throughout the years in our industry changing so significantly. And a big part of that change is directly related to the changes that you experienced in your career, quite honestly. I mean, the whole move from being a subject matter expert to being to getting into that training realm and then moving into the social space. I see and have seen, and those people that follow me on social media know that this is something that I've been talking about for a long time. As soon as I started seeing the internet go social, I knew this would change training, change learning, change education, change millions of things that we do in a huge way, and you're living it.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, for so much of what I do now, I did go to a 4-year college, but, for me, I believe I kind of have learned it via YouTube University, and a lot of it is, being able to kind of come in there, understand what I can gather from a YouTube type standpoint, what I need to drive deeper learnings on. And so much that I work on and do today didn't even exist back, when I was in college, so it's not that college wasn't the place for me, but I think for so much as the path have grown, I think learning and developing not only individually, but as each industry, each space, each business, I think it's become now a much more fluid integration, not only with social media, but I think with just the entire growth of even how brands create content. The brands that I'm working with now and creating content, my tagline is nobody will ever say that you're helping too much or training them too much to be more productive in their day-to-day life. And I think when you realize that, you're like, wait a second, I'm really bringing this back. Instead of selling or marketing, I'm technically training. And that definitely is linked through, the value you can build on social media.
Yeah, well, for sure. And I definitely want to jump more deeply into that. But, for folks in my industry that's in learning and development and in training that don't even know who you are, let's dial it back just a little bit and just give us a little bit of your background and from your perspective, what I kind of ran through of your, what you've gone through, tell me a little bit about that history. Give us the Reader's Digest version there.
Sure. So yeah, I was a computer science major in college. I like to say I'm a pager-wearing millennial. So I'm 35 years old, graduated in 2003 from university, and I introduce myself on stage now as a change evangelist. And really that's because my career and my path over these last years since 2003 has really taken many paths of change. I worked for the Department of Defense for 9 years, deploying training and social business solutions in the cybersecurity space as well as the kind of social business space. And I got to travel around the world, work with the military, a couple trips to Afghanistan and Iraq, 45 countries. I built up to a team of 30 training and tech developers that were deploying. At one point, we were doing 4 classes a week, every week around the world. And I then segued out of that space of the government, and I was looking for fast-paced startup and something that was allowing me to grow. And actually, I got hired on by you, Brent. So you got hired. We started working at a data center company there in Phoenix, Arizona. And really, the data center company was kind of going through a similar transition of what I was going through. And they were going from old school tech and some of the things I would say would be a more boring space that is migrating to the cloud. And started working there at I/O and had a great time. Really, when I started there, I was employee 256. And when I left, I believe we were just over 600 employees. So, and that was a little less than 2 years. So we went through rapid growth, rapid training. I as well kind of took on near the end even a little bit more of a marketing role, which was my first time even having anything to do with a marketing department, and learned lots of good, bad, and ugly, and we'll leave that at that from that standpoint. But I really enjoyed that spot, and I kind of groomed the position. Actually, Brent, when we talked, I remember kind of during an interview, you had asked me when I was joining I/O, like what I wanted to become and what position where I wanted it to move towards. And I had the idea of a technology evangelist, and that idea, of that Guy Kawasaki, Robert Scoble role. And we were able to make that happen at I/O. And then about 2 years ago, I made the jump, and I've done the entrepreneur side now for the last 2 years. And I'm a partner in a couple different projects. I have a podcast. I have 2 live shows that I do. I'm a partner in Summit Live, which is the Periscope Summit and live streaming event. And now I like to think, I help brands tell their story, and I build out strategies for them to do that, and as well as being a speaker. So it's been one heck of a ride, but yeah, there's definitely a massive amount of training as well as lots of change throughout our path. But yeah, it's exciting to think back about 4 years ago when I first met you, and we were doing the interview when I was migrating from the government into the training and data center space.
Yeah, we talk a lot about. I've had some conversations over the years, and even recently, people ask me about, Brent, who would you hire on a team, and if you were building a training department, what type of person do you look for and everything. And I think everybody is expecting me to say, well, I'm looking for an instructional designer with a graduate degree and this, that, and the other thing. And you're the person that changed my views on all of that kind of stuff, because I very distinctly remember, chatting with you beforehand, and you didn't have, any of that official background or anything, but you had the IT background, and you had the passion, and you had this insatiable desire to learn yourself. And to me, that just immediately struck me as, that's what this training thing is all about. If you are, especially in the corporate space, because you're having to learn something new all the time anyways. And now, more than ever, because technology is changing so fast, everybody has to be hungry to learn more, or else you're going to get left behind. And so that, to me, is the real kicker. If you can find somebody that's passionate, that is excited about the technology, excited to learn something new, and to really just try, and that's not afraid to stand up in front of a group of people. I remember the very first training we did, man, you owned that whole thing, and you just killed it. People's heads were melting. They were getting so much content from you, and it just made such a perfect transition to see you now move over into this social media space. But I look back on that, and I see how social media can now do what we had to do then. Even then, it wasn't that long ago. Geez, we talk about it like it's a long time ago, but like if we even, so what are we looking at? 3-4 years ago now,
4 years ago, yep.
Even if we had the technology that you and I are using right now, and Snapchat and all the other stuff. Can you imagine how different some of that training stuff would have been, right?
It would have. It's crazy to think back, and I loved, being able to work in an environment that was kind of a data center that was fast paced in what they wanted to do, but we were also treating people that had been in a space that was getting very disrupted, right? So we had to learn, because we had to teach them how to learn, and then also in our company we had such a new hire push that when we got there was the dinosaurs and the people that were holding on and saying, we're not going to let you do what you're doing. Don't you know this is the way we've always done it? And then we started to become all of a sudden outnumber them, right? And then I remember the ability to fail, but also fail in a learning kind of capacity is really the way that I built the cybersecurity training aspect, where I took a wing and said, hey, I want to train this course. And then I just started wanting to do additional courses. And a lot of what we were learning was stuff that we would learn a week prior to going and training the military. And that mentality, I remember, for me, it wasn't about formal, I still believe so much of what we were able to do had to do about understanding the nuances of training and understanding, even how to tell a story and building out a curriculum. But ultimately, the what resonates, what people take away, and how do you keep them captivated? You have to be in the know and kind of be willing to jump in. And you're right. The amount of change. We were, for those that don't know, we had a TriCaster. We had 3 external cameras. We were running we built out an amazing training classroom that had interactive, and it was kind of probably a year and a half too early, because if it would have been about a year and a half later, there would have been a lot easier to set up, probably cost a lot less, and we probably would have been able to fire out things. But I can tell you, even this morning, I was doing an interview and with one of my podcasts, and I'm using Wirecast and doing a couple of things. I was pulling things that we did 5 years ago on that TriCaster, and we were live streaming a keynote from our CEO at the time, and that was the most ad hoc, thrown together live stream you've ever seen. It went off beautifully and everyone was happy, but if Periscope or Facebook Live had been around, it would have been 6 weeks less of pain.
Exactly. Would have taken us all of 5 minutes to set that sucker up, right?
That's so true. It's been a heck of a ride, especially to think about what has gone on from not only from training, but video as a whole. You were big on video even before I even was understanding that power of it from a delivery aspect. You were also big on having the conversation, not being, broadcasting from a stage down. It was, and now that's kind of the norm, but you were definitely one that allowed us to do that as a team. And it was exciting. It's a fun journey for me, because I think so much of what I do on a day-to-day basis links back to everything I learned across the training side of the house.
Yeah, well, so that therein lies the connection, right? And why I think it's important to have you at the inaugural TLDC event. And because I know there's people in my industry that are looking at the website and seeing your name and seeing your face on there and doing a double take and going, what is Brent thinking? Who is this guy? And most of the people that know me know I have a very specific reason why I pick the speakers I speak. And so they get it, but they're unsure, right? And
right.
So I'm sure they've gone out and looked at you online and looked at what you do, but it's really important to me that we make that connection between the two industries, because I think in much the same way, the same reason why I've got Malia Probst showing up as well to talk about the VR side of it. I think that there is a lot that the learning and development and training community can learn from these other fringe industries that are important to us, because we use these technologies in training and learning and development. But I also think that there's a lot that the social media world can learn from what training has to offer. And I know I've actually had a lot of conversations with a lot of vendors in the VR community recently, and I tell them things about what we do in our industry, and their minds are blown. They're like, wow, we really do need to talk to you guys, because we're going to be selling this stuff into training organizations. And if they can't talk the talk of the chief learning officer or of the director of training, if they can't meet they're not going to be able to make the sales. So there's so much crossover and so much we can learn from each other. And so that's why I'm really excited to have you come in and not somebody that's in my industry that says they're a social media expert, but to bring in somebody like you who's legit. I mean, you got some serious chops in the social media space, and that's your life, but you've got that training hook, that training side, and you get it. You get where the two meet. And so that's the thing that really gets me excited about having you at the event.
Yeah, I'm excited to be there. I'm excited, and so much, it's interesting. I have a tag that I pretty much bring up on every technology show that I'm on, and I call it my 3 T's. And it's actually the order, and it's a lot what we do in design, and I call it trust, training, and tools. And it's in that order. And I think establishing trust, it doesn't matter what your background or what your space is, but to build a community, they have to trust you. You have to understand that the technology is oftentimes thrown at people to solve a people problem, or technology is, hey, we're going to migrate to this solution, and we're going to scrap training, or we don't even need to listen to our employees, and you'll throw a tool there, and the tool will fail, and we'll blame the tool. We picked the wrong tool, and then we'll research another tool, and then we'll throw another tool at it, and then eventually we'll realize, well, we don't even understand our client, our customer, our employees, whoever we're trying to have use the tool. And we didn't even set them up for success. We didn't even, write the training, give them a path. And I think so for me, I hammer home trust, training, tools in that order. And it means a lot because so much of my success, so much of the brands, it's something as forward leading as live video and live streaming, as crazy as this. For me, there's lots of people that I would say my competitors or people that are trying to work with brands that say, hey, this is the tool for you. We're going to use it. And they don't have established trust with the brand. They don't have established trust with the community they're trying to reach. They haven't trained the brand on even how it's going to work, even how to get what success looks like. And so for me, defining that is a key fundamental for everything we're doing in technology, everything we're doing in social media. And trust, training, tools. It's outlined that simple.
Yeah, and that's perfect. I think I remember hearing you say that on one of your podcasts that I was watching, and I jumped in the chat right away, and I'm like, yeah, go training, man, you kill it.
It is, and it's amazing too, because it's even a lot. I think for me, social media, if you understood Twitter, even when we worked together, like how we were using Twitter. It's drastically different today. Features, and for so many people, they'll look at a platform, they'll either hate it or love it, or they dived in, they learned it, and they got out of it. Whatever the situation is. But if you're not willing to not only adapt, but kind of go with it as it changes, and even come back and look at it. And I think training, even the training and learning as a whole, I remember some of the tools that we were using and building. We had the learning management system, and we were using our internal Jive and social business solution. And I believe we built probably the most engaged, active Jive training community that I've ever been a part of what we had at IO. And it was amazing, but so much of that was we were creating content. We were adapting. I remember we went to, I believe it was Bank of America, one of our clients, and we got there the first day and they were like, oh, we're not even using the tool to do that anymore. We went back that night. We restructured the training that we were going to implement. And that to me, there's a really good blog post that came out from a leader in the content space and a big speaker. His name's Jay Baer. And Jay Baer really highlighted the disruption of the hierarchy inside of marketing, and the ability that the generalist, the person that can roll with the punches, can adapt and learn and have that learning mindset. That's the future of a marketer. And to me, I was cheering, because I've been wanting that to be the case, because that's definitely who I embody. But I think that's the case across all spaces. And I think more organizations, it's very much like social media. Social media and training are probably both underinvested in, underappreciated in the return, because they're both looked at as an overhead cost, or something that, unfortunately is like a checkbox rather than a checkbox that's a recurring checkbox in every person's life. And I will say something that I've always, I would claim I was not a good student. And I think that's even why I got turned away from the learning development and even the blogging community, because I wasn't a great student. I did not like school, but I love training and I love learning. And I think there's a difference. And to me, the future, the Gen Z, the millennials, the learning that a millennial looks at, it's not a book. It's not, it's the ability to understand a concept, implement it. And I think with all the things we have going on today, I'm excited where we're moving forward, because I think we're going to come back to this idea where it says you have to have a learning mindset, you have to embrace training, but you also have to be willing to integrate all of these other technologies. It's not training without social media. It's not social media without community. The content you're creating is also a form of training. And it's exciting times, but yeah, it's been a heck of a ride, because that ability to get people to understand the importance of being able to roll with the punches, and that is it's taken a lot of convincing. I've got jobs, I've lost jobs, I've lost clients, I've gained clients all around this whole concept, because it can be scary. And I think something for a lot of people. I talk fast, I'm passionate, I love what I'm doing, but I also do not believe in an all or nothing approach. I also don't believe that you must, disruption to me is starting with baby steps of implementing change. And I call it a millennial mindset. It's my book that I'm writing that will be out next year. And millennial mindset, the byline is, it's not the year you were born, but your ability to embrace change, collaboration, and community. And I think that, to me, is a fundamental element of what we're moving forward in. If you can not be scared of change, it doesn't mean you have to change everything, but not be scared of change. You understand collaborating both with your partners and your employees, but also sometimes your competitors. And then last but not least, I think, the first chapter of my book is community is the future of business. And I think community is a key factor of what learning and development has done really well, right? They've fostered that growth. They understand that. And I think every business and industry is going to take note on how important it is to invest, train, and build that trust with your community.
Fantastic stuff. And, you and I could sit here and talk shop all day long, but we've got, I'll let you go. I know you've got other stuff to do, but everybody, so you're going to be hanging out with us for a couple days at the event, right?
Yes, I am. I'm excited. So October 3rd to the 5th in San Diego. Can't beat San Diego. I've always said it's probably my favorite place to visit without question in the U.S. And I have a heck of a roller. I'll be in Australia next week. I come back to Boston, and then I go to Denmark. I come back for a week in Vegas, and then I head to San Diego. And so of all those places, San Diego is definitely the one that will be a lot of fun. And like you said, a couple of the other speakers there are good friends of mine as well. Some people that I really look up to in not only the leading edge space, but really they build community and social correctly. So I believe I'll be on stage the morning of the 4th, but I'll be there throughout the event. So I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm also, I would say, I believe, we talk a lot about relationships and the importance of that community and stuff, but for me, so much of my success today is built on relationships that I've had and built over the last couple of years. So I wanted to say thank you for you, Brent, because I think you hired me early on, and we worked together, and we've continued a friendship since. And really, that relationship now is going to hopefully bring us mutual rewards of allowing me to come there and share as a speaker and at a couple panels, and then as well as you giving me the opportunity to reach a whole new audience and share my story and connect some of these dots. So I'm excited. I really am excited about it. I'm excited. I think I love the topic, the title of my presentation, and it's a brand new one. So this will be exclusive for the TLDC is the Training Mindset, Foundation for Digital Storytelling. And I do a lot on digital storytelling. It's my focus. And this is the first one I've outlined on the Training Mindset. And I can tell you, I outlined it about a week ago on a butcher piece of paper over there, and it's gonna have some data back, some interesting nuggets. But I'm also gonna look for some audience participation and some things that we'll throw in there. So honored and excited to be there October 3rd through the 5th in San Diego.
Yeah, fantastic, Brian. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you again, buddy. I really am. It's going to be a lot of fun. A good time. So I hope you're not too fried from all your traveling, but
oh no, this is what I thrive on. I love that. I always say, to me, that it's the downtime of logistics and reporting and all these other things that I've had to do for the last 2 months. I'm ready to get on the road, get on the stage, and get in front of people. And my tagline, is think like a fan. And I always tell everybody, and I say this at every event, I believe social media does not replace a handshake. It gives us the opportunity to have additional handshakes and turn some handshakes into hugs and selfies. And so if you see me at the event, you might not know me yet. Maybe you'll wait till I get off stage, but come up, say hi. Love to chat. Let's take a selfie. Let's post it out there. Even if you're not on social media, I'll post it on my social media, and maybe the light will come on there that you'll see kind of that power of turning handshakes into hugs. So make sure you track me down, and you can't miss me. I usually have a hat on. I got bright colored shoes, and I talk a lot. So those things should allow me to stand out. And Brent knows that more so than anybody.
Yeah, I'll make sure people know where you are. It's all right.
Sounds good.
Well, I'll give you some downtime too, but it'll be fun. It'll be great. Well, again, thanks, Brian. I really appreciate this, man. You're a good man, and I appreciate all the time and everything that I've learned from you over the last couple of years too, man. I got to say, I really I appreciate the work you do, which is why I'm very happy to have you. So.
Awesome. It sounds great. Well, we will chat more, and then I will see you in San Diego.
Sounds great, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye-bye.